Yo, what is good, everybody? Welcome back to the Fast Break here on the Variety Sports Network. I'm your host, Shoot the Rock, and my oh my, did we have a weekend here in the NCAA tournament? 2 weeks from tonight, man, we're gonna be crowning a national champion here in college basketball. We started last week when we did this thing. There were 68 teams. We're already now down to 16. After Sunday, we'll be down to 4. Final 4. Next time I see you, we'll only have 4 teams left. So, and then 2 weeks from tonight, national championship game. Kind of crazy. Even crazier, 3 weeks from tonight, I'm going to be doing my NBA playoff preview on here. That's what I'm saying. NBA's flying by too. So there's a lot of great hoops this time of year. And I'm enjoying it. So I'm ready to talk some ball. And honestly, tonight, it's kind of when there's so many games like that, it's tough to kind of pick where to start. But I gotta give a shout out to my guy St. Louis Sports here, who was live in the chat early. Who has been the most surprising team in the tournament so far? And for me, I guess we'll keep this up. There's really only two answers. It's Arkansas. I think Arkansas is like the main answer. Number 10 seed here in the Sweet 16, only double digit seed, which we'll get into that more later. They upset number 2 St. John's. And honestly, like this Arkansas team a couple weeks ago, like they were not like a tournament caliber team to me. They got blown out by South Carolina, and South Carolina stinks. South Carolina was like last in the South Carolina was last in the SEC. It was like the only team that wasn't going to like make the tournament, and they were just a horrible squad. A lot of people were writing Arkansas off after that. This was a team that while they had a lot of transfers, high impact transfers, was on paper, a very good team, just did not perform well all season. Was supposed to be a top dog in the SEC, but they just did not really gel. I mean, the injury to Boogie Fland, he's now back. Let me pull up this box score from that. Or no, I have. Why am I changing tabs? I have Saturday pulled up. I gotta get there. So yeah, let me look at this box real quick. But yeah, Arkansas is a team just like very underperforming. I'm gonna be honest. Honestly, kind of thought they were like maybe seeded a little high as a 10. I kind of thought they maybe should be like closer to that last 4 in, which granted, I guess then that would have been like an 11 seed. But, their team that they didn't turn on when they did would have not been dancing, or like would have had to win date to go dancing. Instead now, they're, 75-66 win over St. John's on Saturday. They now find themselves in the Sweet 16. Tough matchup, for them having to take on Texas Tech. I think this Texas Tech team's really good. They're a team that I've been kind of set as like a dark horse Final Four team. Wouldn't surprise me. I've been saying that for a little bit now. So we'll see. But I didn't think Arkansas was going to beat St. John's, and then here we are, Razorbacks in the Sweet 16. Yeah, just kind of looking at this box score here on Saturday. It was Billy Richmond was their leader off the bench with 16. Yeah, Boogie Flan only had 6. John L. Davis, tournament legend for FAU. He's now playing really well at the right time. This is his time of year. I'm really happy to see all these FAU guys from a couple of years ago from that Final Four team, still performing on the highest level. That was a team I had a lot of fun watching. That was like my first year too of really diving in here, doing videos, talking ball like that. So going to talk about that team. That'll always be special for me. And then Carter Knox also had 15 for the Razorbacks. Really the big thing in this one was, and I guess Arkansas didn't shoot the 3 well at all either. St. John's, I kind of knew it was always going to be the lack of shooting of St. John's that was going to cost them. They shot 9% from 3, 28% from the field in this one, and still only like 71% from the line. So that's where I guess Arkansas is surprising. But honestly, out of all the 2 seeds, I kind of thought it was going to be St. John's or maybe Michigan State. Just these teams that kind of struggle to shoot the ball a little bit more, that had themselves, kind of susceptible for getting bounced early. And in a tournament that, it's been very chalky, probably more chalky than, well, obviously more chalky than most people like, but probably even a little bit chalkier than I would like, picks-wise. I tried to get kind of creative with some of these. Like St. John's losing in the round of 32 wasn't really a pick I had, so that would have been one to kind of get right. That would have been nice to get right, but I not. So Arkansas onto the Sweet 16, and St. John's. It's this is still a really good year for St. John's. I do want to say that. I guess, we're kind of now shifting a little bit more to St. John's. And this is kind of one, March Madness, like I said, there's so many games. Like I like comments like this. Who's been the most surprising team? So like, feel free to drop your guys' takes, your guys' questions, and that makes it a little bit easier. Especially, I'm back again, running solo, running ISO ball tonight on this. So it always helps have some interaction with the chat. But St. John's, man, they got a good thing going here. They're gonna be fine. RJ Luis, he played his like worst game, and feel bad for me. Deleted his Instagram account. Like, I'm sorry, bro. If you come at like college guys because you like lose your bet, or just because you're a fan, like they lost, and you like, there's just no place for that in sports. Like, those people aren't sports fans. Those are not fans, in my opinion. So yeah, that's really frustrating. But yeah, for him to go 3-17, get benched, only have 9 points out, that's tough. Kadari Richmond fouled out, but even he only shot 2 of 7, 5 points. Like, just St. John's like just struggled to score the ball in this one. And that was what really was their downfall. But then for me, another one, and again, I'm just going like the lowest seeds here in a very chalky term. So maybe this isn't like the greatest picks, but Ole Miss for me is a sleeper. They're underdogs in their first game against North Carolina. And we talked about last week, should North Carolina been in, should or not. But the Tar Heels ended up being favored in that first game. Ole Miss hung on and won. They were up big. North Carolina had a heck of a comeback to like really cut it, but then Ole Miss able to withstand them. So now here they are taking on 3 seed Iowa State in a Sweet 16 game in a round 32 game in Milwaukee. So definitely Iowa State had the like home crowd advantage in this one, and they honestly just kind of took it to Iowa State. Like, this game was never close. This was, I would say, last night was probably the best night of hoops, like the entire weekend. This game was a snoozer. This game was like, you do not have to watch. There were so many other good games going on at the time. You did not have to watch these ones because Ole Miss just beat down Iowa State 91-78. It never even seemed like it was like that close. I mean, I guess, yeah, the second half they only outscored by 2. But at times, like, Ole Miss led by like 20 plus points in this game. Sean Padula, really good game from him, 20 points. Malik Dia as well, another guy I've been high on for Ole Miss, 18 points from him with 8 rebounds. Matthew Murrell also had 15 points, including 3 of 3 from beyond the arc. I mean, this is one of those when the team just got red hot. Ole Miss shot 57% from beyond the arc, 11-19. Like, they were not missing. Jaden Brakefield had 19 off the bench. He's same thing, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc, 6-8, like as a whole. So it's one of those games where just like they were not missing. They couldn't miss. Iowa State just could not slow down Ole Miss at all. Granted, that's when it hurts to not have some of these guys that Iowa State, has been injured with missing. Curtis Jones, 31 minutes off the bench, did have 26 points. So really good game for him. But yeah, like Taman Lipsey only had 7 points. Like, he was their other guard that I was really high on for Iowa State all year. Momcilovic, who's kind of like their shooter, 2 of 12 in this game, 1 of 8 from 3, only 5 points for him. So he definitely struggled. So this was a game that like Ole Miss really just kind of took it to Iowa State, like could not miss. Just kind of looking at team sets here. Sorry, like I said, it's kind of hard when you're watching all these games to like have like super in-depth analysis at times, I feel like. But just kind of looking at anything else that really stands out here. I mean, yeah, Iowa State only shot 36% from 3, and from the field, 48 to Ole Miss's 58. Rebounding is pretty even. Turnovers, Iowa State, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought I remember that. Ole Miss was definitely forcing turnovers. 20 points off of turnovers to Iowa State 7. So just when you're defending and taking and making shots the way Ole Miss was, it's tough to beat a team like that. They're gonna have a heck of a game here against who do they play? Ole Miss. Oh, they play Michigan State, but I don't know. That's what I was kind of saying with St. John's just a second ago. Michigan State's like a similar, where they're a team that they struggle to shoot the ball a little bit. So if Ole Miss once again can kind of be lights out, meanwhile Michigan State can't shoot, who knows? Maybe we get an all SEC Elite 8 matchup there. So we'll see. I would say Arkansas and Ole Miss are I mean, like, I feel like Arkansas is the obvious one. Only double-digit seed. Still playing, but after that, I'd say Ole Miss, because I really did not see this coming. Like I said, I kind of thought Ole Miss might get bounced round 1. And while I wasn't like super high on Iowa State, I thought they were a better team than Ole Miss. I definitely not think they were a team where they'd be, getting beat by 20. Yeah, largest lead. Ole Miss led by 26 at one point in this game. Like this game just like was never really close, just never in doubt. So those are the two that I'm going to go with as my most surprising teams. If you guys got other ones, feel free to drop them here in the chat. Then moving on, we got Aaron here. Aaron says Cinderella didn't want to show up to the tourney ball this year. And this is a discourse I've been seeing a lot online of, NIL and the transfer portal are ruining college basketball. And I'm not saying this is Aaron's take by any means. I'm not trying to come at you here, Aaron. Don't take it that way. People were complaining that we weren't getting a buzzer beater, and then we got one, and it knocked out a 12 seed. And that's a 12 seed was right there battling to the Sweet 16. Like Arkansas is still an upset. I know it's crazy to call an SEC team coached by John Calipari Cinderella, but I would argue, I mean, McNeese, it just happens some years where there isn't gonna be a team that goes on a run. But here's my thing: a couple years ago, I was just talking about Florida Atlantic and San Diego State both went on runs, played in the Final Four. People were complaining no one wants to see this Final Four matchup between these two mid-major programs. So I think it's a bit of just people kind of like to complain. I don't think we need to find a solution. And this was bothering me. I'm a big college sports guy in general, like college basketball and college football. Probably college basketball more than college football, but was doing some writing about college football this year, so I was probably following a little bit closer than I ever have. And all these people want changes to the college football playoff format after 1 year, and it's no. I think just sports fans need to just kind of chill with their overreactions a little bit. I know that's kind of how the hot take culture has influenced things nowadays, where it's you have to have the first take, you have to be first. You don't necessarily have to be right, you just have to be first and loudest. Where people want all these fixes or NIL transfer portal no. I think yes, you are gonna see. I think it's more gonna affect I mean, I guess I'd still call Drake a Cinderella. Drake had 4 D2 guys are playing D2 last year. That some of them now, Bennett Sturts is insane. Definitely be following his coach Ben McCollum to Iowa. So I think that's more what's going to affect transfer portal. NIL is okay, these guys go on a March Madness run. They're going to get the bag to play somewhere, play at a high major program. So it's just kind of that low major is going to have to rebuild. And that's why then I think you're going to see a lot of, like I said, Ben McCollum already left for Iowa, which makes sense. Home run hire. Will Wade, before it was pretty much confirmed Will Wade was going to NC State even before McNeese played. And that's why I was kind of oh, there's no shot they win. And then sure enough, the 112 seed that I had no faith in because they burned me last year ends up getting the dub over Clemson. And their student manager is just going crazy. Aaron's got some good takes here. I like these. Let me read these off real quick. Was that a travel last night in the Maryland game? I could see the argument. I'm going to have to refresh on my rule book. In the NBA, no shot. That's, that's a gather step, 1-2. But I'm so, is the gather step a thing in college basketball? That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure. I could see the argument both ways. I'm going to be honest, though. That's one of those. And I hate this. Usually I'm not this way, where I hate people that are like this, that are oh, you can't call that in that situation. It's no. If it's a foul in the first 39 minutes of the game, it should be a foul in the last minute kind of thing. But that was one of those you would have hate to see it get waved off on a travel. I don't know. I guess you can say that he was attacking the basket, so he gets the 2 steps. When you're going for a layup. Like I said, I'd have to freshen up on my rules book. I think it's one of those. I'm glad they didn't call it, but I do think Colorado State fans or Maryland haters, they have a gripe to be had, is what I will say there. And then also says no one ever talks about coaching on IL. So I think you're kind of meaning coaches, they get more money, they jump wherever. And that's my thing. That's why I'll never understand just going at guys for transferring. I mean, obviously way different, but I was a transfer. I was a Division III athlete, didn't play basketball. But I transferred because sometimes just you go on a recruiting trip, as a 18-year-old, you think, oh, this is the school for me. And then, stuff goes down. Like for me, it was mainly just COVID. And you realize, hey, actually, this probably isn't the spot for me. This, like what I thought I wanted at 18, I actually don't want. So I'll never fault kids for transferring just because I think, it's you just don't know. But also, yeah, like coaches can move freely whenever they want. And again, I do not blame a Ben McCollum for taking an Iowa job. Like I said, he was coaching Division 2 years ago, and now he's gonna be coaching the Big Ten. I do not blame him for taking that job. Nico Medved he went from Drake to Colorado State to now Minnesota, also in the Big Ten. Not blaming him for taking that job. Tucker DeVries, Drake 2 years ago, West Virginia last year, now India. I'm not blaming him for taking those jobs. Like these are advances in their career. Same thing Will Wade, a whole different story. He had all his stuff at LSU. But yeah, to go from McNeese to NC State, that's a no-brainer. Like to go from, the Southland to the ACC, no, like why would you not take that opportunity? Like imagine any other profession being like, nah, you can't like take this advance in your career. You have to stay where you are. Like, no, like that's what I'm saying. Like no one's ever going to say coaches can't advance, can't move up. But that's what I'm saying. If coaches can move so freely, that's why I have this issue with these coaches and now complain about the transport. And it's like, no, you guys can move whenever you want. So I don't want to hear about, oh, my players are leaving for a better opportunity going somewhere else. Like, I don't want to hear about, yeah, the kids that you have to re-recruit every year because they're switching schools trying to just get the most money, like the AJ Stores of the world. Yeah. Is it great for them? No. But also then that's maybe you should think, this kid's played in 4 high schools in 4 years and now is his 3rd college in 3 years. Maybe this isn't the kind of guy we want on our team. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think I just think this like blaming like transfer portal and NIL, I guess long story short, for like ruining college athletics, I just don't think is a thing because yes, like Aaron is saying here, coaches have been able to move freely like forever and it's never been an issue and it's never going to be like no, coaches need to stay. Would it be cool to see, someone try to do like what Mark Few's done at Gonzaga and build a mid-major program into one of these, kind of high major a basketball powerhouse? I mean, I'd argue kind of Creighton. Greg McDermott's done that at Creighton. They're a Valley school now. They're one of the better Big East schools. Like it's possible. I think teams can do it. So while I don't blame coaches for it, it would be cool to see that, but I just don't think it's going to happen because they can most likely go somewhere else, get more money than this low major school is paying them. So I just don't think like this NIL and transfer portal is like ruining college basketball the way people are like trying to act. And also, let's be honest, a lot of the people with that take are like the Stephen A's of the world who are watching college basketball for 3 weeks and not watching it since November. So people that try to say like, oh, college basketball is dead or college basketball is dying, that's just not, it's not a thing. That's not true. So I would kind of take that with a grain of salt. So yeah, so let's get into kind of some of these matchups. Like I said, it's kind of stinks. Like so much good basketball, and I'm talking about all these hypotheticals, but yeah, it's just kind of the way discourse has been online. So I feel like I have to address it. So let's go here. Let's look. I guess we'll just kind of go with what the matchups upcoming here in the Sweet 16 are, and kind of talk about how teams got there. So first, let's look at Thursday's game. Thursday's slate, we got BYU, Alabama, and then Arizona, Duke in the East region. So Duke's kind of cruised in both games so far. Really no issues for them. Not a whole lot to say there. I mean, Cooper Flagg is back. He's looked pretty good. Tyrese Proctor has also been playing really well for the Blue Devils. He had 19 points in the win on Friday. And then yesterday, what do you have yesterday? He had 25 yesterday. So Proctor, if he can keep playing that way, Duke's really gonna be rolling. That's what I'm saying. If you can have, they have the Cooper Flagg, they have the number 1 pick in the draft, and yet they're still just kind of cruising through. So Duke looked pretty good. Arizona, really big win for them last night against Oregon. That was like one of the games of the day. Very good game. Was watching that with the fellas last night. Enjoyed that one. And that's where, last week me and Matt were talking about, when we were previewing the bracket, Caleb Love can shoot you out of a game, but he can also play very well like he did last night. 29 points for him in the victory. Arizona winning 87-83 over Oregon. It was a tough one. It was one where I thought Oregon was going to win that game, just like I was kind of the same way. I wasn't super high on Caleb Love, but proved me and the haters wrong last night. So yeah, 29 from him. Jaden Bradley with 12 as well in the backcourt. And then Anthony Del Orso knocking out a lot of clutch free throws down the stretch, had 12. So did the big Tobe Awaka, 12 points, 14 boards for him. He was feasting. It was a really fun battle to watch him and Nate Biddle for Oregon go back and forth. Biddle had 16 points, 11 rebounds, so double-double for him as well. So Arizona, very, very battle-tested win there. And now they face a Duke team, which, let's be honest, really hasn't had to be tested. I mean, the game yesterday against Baylor was close a little bit in the first half, but they cruised in the second half. Like I wasn't super locked in. I thought that one was pretty much over. So we now, you take a team that's had 2 blowouts. They now face a team that's battle tested. Who knows? And Caleb Love is beat Duke before, as much as it pains me to bring that back up. So we'll see. I'm still taking the Blue Devils now. When I was high on them before the tournament, I'm still very high on them from what I've seen so far. Nothing too drastic to make me kind of want to switch that pick. So give me the Blue Devils. Still take that one. Then on the other side, we got BYU taking on Alabama. BYU low-key could have been up there for a sleeper as well. That was another really good game. A lot of people were just saying no madness the first round. And I said it. I said that means we're going to get some really good games round 2. And sure enough, we did. BYU knocking off Wisconsin 91-89. One of the really great games on Saturday night. John Tonje's 37 points for the Badgers came up just short, especially just kind of tough last session from him. BYU was up big in this one, but then Wisconsin came back. Richie Saunders was the leader, though, for BYU. He had 25 points in this one, including 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. And then they also had Trevin Kennel and then Igor Demon double figures as well as Kabe Akita. So 4 of 5 starters with double-digit points for BYU. Then we got a take here from Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports that I sneaky agree with. BYU, I think, can upset Bama and possibly make the final. He again goes on Final Four. Oh, I didn't read that part. So he thinks BYU could knock down Duke. Honestly, Richie Saunders keeps stroking it the way he has, or keeps shooting it. I need to stop saying that. Can keep shooting it the way he has. I could see them beating Bama because I think they play at the pace that Alabama likes to play, and that's why I've been a little kind of hesitant on Alabama. Granted, they're just way too athletic yesterday for St. Mary. St. Mary stood no chance. We can kind of let me go over to that game real quick, pull that box score up. Where Alabama's had very good matchups so far where it's like no one's going to be more athletic than them and can kind of hang at that pace. And just, so I'm saying, if St. Mary's was more athletic, maybe they could have slowed the game down a little bit, but they just were not capable of that. So Alabama was running all over. They're the same thing. 4 of 5 scores in double digits with Chris Youngblood with 13, 12 from Mark Sears and Grant Nelson, and then Cliff Amore with 10 as well. And then even LeBaron Philon had a good game, only 6 points, but 5 rebounds, 5 assists. So Alabama, just track meet, shot over 40% from 3, over 50 from the field. St. Mary's definitely could not hang with them. BYU, on the other hand, the way they've been playing, I think they can. Richie Saunders has been playing really well this tournament. Igor Demon, he also had 8 assists. That's the thing. Igor's showed he could score the first game, but really he's all year been more of a facilitator. Kind of just looking at team stats in this one, really how they got it done. They forced turnovers, 11 turnovers for BYU forced in this one. Granted, Wisconsin actually had more points off of the turnovers. But BYU likes to run. They outscored Wisconsin by 10. Fast break points, 11-0. Points in the paint, 38-28 for BYU. So I think they play a style and they have the talent where they could hang with Alabama. I actually do not hate that pick. I think I have a bracket or two where I did pick that. I mean, at times I have said before the tournament, I might have said it. I forget if I said it on the show last week or not. I really did kind of think whoever came out of this like BYU, Wisconsin, VCU little quad here, that team would go to the Elite Eight. So I do very much like that take from Fat Boy Fadeaway of BYU to the Elite Eight, beating Bama to the Final Four. Again, a little bit of a homer here with Duke, but I don't know if I see that. I just think Duke is so talented. I think Duke's honestly like way more talented than Alabama. I think it's really showed these past 2 games how really even just the ACC tournament, how talented Duke is even without Cooper Flagg. And now you throw Cooper Flagg, who, especially by next weekend, should be fully healthy. I mean, he looked just fine this weekend already. So we'll see. That'd be an interesting one. I don't know. Do I want to go with BYU as my official pick? I don't know. I don't know if I'm actually going to do official picks, but I could see that. I think that's going to be a very good game. Like Alabama minus 5.5 is what I'm seeing. Like I'm taking BYU spread. I think that's going to be a game, goes down to the wire, could go either way. And then the other region that we have playing on Thursday for the Sweet 16, we have the West region, where first we're going to have Maryland taking on Florida. I've already touched on Maryland a good amount, so we don't really need to say much more on them. But I do want to pull up this Florida UConn game because it was a very good game. That's what I'm just saying. Sunday was definitely the best day of the weekend by far. We started with a great game in this Florida UConn game. Florida ended up winning 77-75. Granted, Liam McNeely hit like 3 at the buzzer. That made it a 2-point game. It was actually a 5-point game. But this was one, like, it was back and forth literally the whole game. Like, let me pull this up here. What was each team's largest lead? I don't think it was more than like 6 for either team. Just because like this one was just so back and forth. Honestly, for 35 minutes of this game, I kind of thought UConn was going to win it. Yeah, largest lead for UConn was 6. Largest lead for Florida was 8. And I'm pretty sure Florida that they were up like 8 when they were shooting free throws. Like that's the only reason they were even up 8. So like this game was within single digits for all 40 minutes. Really, really tight game, just all around. And in this one, man, that's one why I was so high and have been so high in the Gators. Walter Clayton Jr. was just insane in this one. 23 points from him, 5 of 8 from beyond the arc. Elijah Martin, his running mate in the backcourt, also with 18 and 2 of 4 from beyond the arc. So those two guards, I'm not sure there's a better guard tandem in the nation. Like I said, Elijah Martin from that FAU team a couple of years ago, and now Walter Clayton, who's been hooping at Florida for a couple of years. Will Richard had 15 as well for the Gators in this one. Then Alex Conn, only 5 points with 7 rebounds for him. So he was kind of holding it in down low. On the UConn side, Liam McNeely, ball in this one, 22 points. Did take a lot of shots, 6 of 16 from the field. It's not the greatest game for him. Like, did end up getting his, but Caravan with 14. Samson Johnson was the guy who was really high in this game. He had 10 points, 10 rebounds. Really good game for him. And then Solo Ball struggled. Only 8 points from him, 2 of 11 from the field, as well as only 6 points from Hassan Diarra. And this was one of those, like, I got to give UConn a lot of credit. UConn, I thought they were going to lose this game by 30. I can't stand Dan Hurley. I can't stand UConn. I wanted them to lose this game by 30. I was really hoping I was going to be one of those where, people who, probably aren't following college basketball as much as going to see UConn, 2-time defending national champions, in the Elite Eight and be like, oh, how are they an 8 seed? I'm sorry, why did I say in the Elite Eight? As an 8 seed, playing in the round of 32 against Florida, being like, oh, I like UConn. But I got to give them credit. They did hang tough. Did they get screwed by the officials like Dan Hurley was trying to say? No, I disagree with that. Dan Hurley, insane whiner, heel of college basketball right now. Good coach. That's what gets, his boys fired up, gets people playing, but I can't stand him. So I just think that's just like whining from him, and just then like him kind of crying post game, and then I saw that's like why, and I'm like, okay, this just ridiculous. So Florida, Maryland should be a very good game. Sorry, when I get on these rants, I get kind of winded. I think this is one of those games that wakes Florida up. I think them having to, have a bit of a battle here with UConn, play that close to a game. Granted, Maryland also did play a very close game against 8 seed or 12 seed Colorado State. I'm leaning Florida though. I think it's one of those where it's kind of like not to the same extent, but when like Ohio State lost to Michigan in football and it woke them up. I don't think this, they needed a wake up by any means, but it's one of those that proves, okay, hey, we're battle tested. We're going to play some tough games. We can handle it. So I'm probably higher on Florida than ever after that one. And then the other one, talked about Arkansas a little bit earlier, so we won't touch on them as much either. So then we have them taking on Texas Tech, who Texas Tech knocked off Drake around a 32. Another one of our Cinderellas here. Drake, like I said, played very well against Missouri, like made the game play at their pace. which is what I was like, if they're going to win, they have to do, and they did it. So I give props to Drake. They were able to change the game against Missouri, but weren't so lucky against Texas Tech. Bennett Sturts showed out once again, 21 points for him. Like I said, he's going to Iowa. Let's be honest. He's going to Iowa with McCollum next year, and he's going to be a dog there. So I'm excited to see that. It was Darian Williams was the leader for Texas Tech, 28 points. Kind of looking here at Texas Tech only shot 14% from three, 2 of 14 from three, and still won this game by 13 points. So just imagine, when they're kind of hitting their shots, it could be scary. However, that's what Arkansas just did to St. John's. They, said, hey, beat us shooting threes. St. John's can't do it. So we'll see. Maybe that plays in the style. But yeah, Darian Williams, 28, like I just said, and then JT Toppin also 25, and then 12 rebounds for him. He's going to be just a beast. I don't know if there's anyone on Arkansas that can stop Toppin. That's really who I guess I'd be worried about. Elijah Hawkins also with 16 from the guards. And then Kerwin Walton didn't score last game, but he had a very good game against UNC Wilmington. Texas Tech kind of did have to sweat that one out a little bit. And looking back on the Drake side, yeah, Bennett Sturts 21, and then Daniel Abreu with 15. Other than that, nothing really too notable. Tavion Banks with 11, and Cale Combs with 13 off the bench. But yeah, it was just one of these games. Texas Tech just was the better team, just more athletic team. And it kind of started to show a little bit that Drake was running with 4 guys who were Division II a year ago. So yeah, it really should be a good one for Texas Tech. It should be a good win. I think they should win this game. I think that's kind of where the end of the road comes for Arkansas. So we got Duke. Screw it, give me BYU. So it's gonna be Duke, BYU in the Elite Eight, and then Florida, Texas Tech. Those are 2 teams I had in the Final Four a week ago. I'm sticking with it. Give me Duke over BYU and Texas Tech over Florida in those 2 games to advance the Final Four. Now looking at Friday's games here in the Sweet 16. First, we got that Ole Miss team, like just talking about earlier, against Michigan State. Michigan State had a bit of a sweat against New Mexico last night. Did end up winning. Sorry, I'm going back and forth between tabs a little bit here. Final score 71-63. So Lobos made it tight against Michigan State after knocking off Marquette, upset win. I gotta give a little bit of props to the Mountain West. They're a conference that people have always kind of said never performed well in the tournament outside of San Diego State. Well, San Diego State got dog walked, but then both Colorado State and New Mexico with wins, and some people maybe think that Colorado State should still be playing, should have been traveling. New Mexico really did play Michigan State tough in this one. Nelly Jr. Joseph with 16 for the Lobos. He was their leader, high scorer in the game with Jaden Adkins for Michigan State, also had 16. Also for Michigan State, it was Trey Holloman with 14, and then Frankie Fiddler with 10, a good game for him. So Michigan State, they got a lot of options. I mean, even, Jace Richardson didn't have his best game, shot 1 of 10 in this game, 0 for 5 from 3. But, Michigan State still pulling out a W in that one over New Mexico. So New Mexico fought hard, but once again, just one of those, the better team with just more athleticism, the better higher level players ends up prevailing. So yeah, Michigan State now playing Ole Miss. Like I said, if Ole Miss can keep shooting it the way they have, it would not surprise me to see Ole Miss win this game. I would say I'm an underdog team to, like, the team that's going to be the underdog to win. Well, I just picked BYU. I don't know what I'm saying here. I guess on Friday, out of all these underdogs, I'm probably most confident in Ole Miss. In Ole Miss to win, but I'm still going to go with the Spartans for now. I think they are the better team. I think it's going to be tough for Ole Miss to replicate that shooting again. But if they can, and the way Michigan State shoots the 3 ball, maybe they're susceptible to the upset, but we'll see. For now, I'm going to go with Michigan State to take that one. And then the other game in the South region, we have Auburn and Michigan. So Auburn, not going to lie, out of all the 1 seeds, Auburn was like probably the least impressive. Granted, I say that, and they still end up winning by 20 in the first round. But, that was another one. Creighton kind of made him sweat it a little bit, but Auburn does end up pulling it out 82-70. Tahad Pettiford was the leader for the Tigers in that one with 23 points coming off the bench. And then Chad Baker-Mazarek with 17 and Denver Jones with 15. So that's what I'm saying. Janai Broom didn't even have a great game. He did have 12 boards, but shooting-wise, not so great for him. So Auburn really just does have so many weapons, and that is just another one. It kind of just showed. Well, Creighton, they got big Cockbrenner, going to miss him now. 18 points for him in his final collegiate game. And then Stephen Ashworth and Jemiah Neal both with 13 as well for Creighton. But just the depth from Auburn was just too much for the Blue Jays in this one. So they're going to be in the Sweet 16 here playing against Michigan. Now, Michigan, I gotta give Michigan credit. Michigan was a team I was very ready to just fade the heck out of, pick them to get upset, say they're losing right away. And they've now bounced back. They won 2 games. They won Big Ten, and now they're in the Sweet 16. First, tight game on Thursday against UC San Diego. America's pick. End up winning by 3, 68-65. Came down to where UC San Diego had a last shot to tie it, couldn't get to go. So Michigan holds on to win that one, and then now on Saturday, come from behind win in the second half. Outscored Texas A&M by 16 in the second half. Excuse me. Come back when they were trailing. Let me see. Let me scroll down. When were they? Yeah, they were down with 8 minutes ago. They tied it with 6. Yeah, they tied it with 6 minutes to play at 70, and then just ended up outscoring Texas A&M 21-9 to end the game from there. So really turned it on down the stretch. Roddy Gale Jr. had a really good game in that one. 26 points for him was the leading scorer, and then 23 for Vlad Golden as well. He's been playing really well this tournament. Another FAU guy. Like I said, all these Florida Atlantic guys, they got this Final Four experience. They're now playing well once again in March. Not surprised. So, they end up knocking off Texas A&M. Texas A&M, they played well. Wade Taylor, 14 points in this one. Did shoot 1 of 8 from beyond the arc, though. That was a tough look for him. And then it was really Pharrell Payne was their leader. Sorry, I forget how I missed that. 26 points. I was going to say, I knew there was someone, but it wasn't Taylor. It played really well. But yeah, just in the end, just couldn't hang with Michigan. Michigan really turned it on late. A&M just never had an answer. So we got Michigan-Auburn. Should be a good one. Honestly, I'm excited. I'm excited for all these games. That's the thing. When there's chalk, it's going to result in exciting games. But I'm still just riding with Auburn. I think they're the best team in the country. Granted, did I pick them to win the national championship? No, just because I think there's other teams that are playing better right now. But who knows? Maybe these 2 games kind of made it click back into place for Auburn, where they'll play to that level that they're capable of. They're playing during the middle of the year. But yeah, for now I'm gonna go Michigan State versus Auburn, 1 versus 2, just like I predicted originally, and give me Auburn to go to the Final Four in this one. And then the final region, and also guys, make sure to drop your picks. I want to hear your guys' picks down below. We got Tennessee taking on Kentucky. 3rd time this year that these 2 schools will be meeting. Kentucky has won both so far, but Tennessee, they've just kind of quietly rolled through the tournament where I feel like I barely watched their games just because they've been dominating. I mean, they dominated Wofford on Thursday night, 77-62. That one was really never close. Chazlinger 29 that one. And then really just rolled over UCLA as well, 67-58. Also was the last game on Saturday, and that was also when BYU, Wisconsin, and Gonzaga, Houston were going down, which we'll get to those in a minute. So yeah, Tennessee, like I said, I feel like I haven't really watched them super closely just because they've been kind of dominating. Chazlinger, another big game from 20 points in Thursday's win, and then Zakiya Ziegler with 15. Then Kentucky, they won yesterday against Illinois. That was a one, kind of a road game, playing in Milwaukee. Let's see, let me pull this up. Yeah, 84-75. This game was fine. It was headed on midday. It was one of those, Illinois would kind of cut it, but Kentucky just always seemed to have a response. I mean, this might just be like the biggest win ever with Arkansas, Kentucky, BYU trading coaches, and it's going well for all three programs. Kobe Brea was the leader for the Cats on Sunday yesterday against Illinois with 23 points, 15 from Otega Owe as well. He's been just feasting in this tournament. A lot of fun to watch. Let me go back. Yeah, he was their leader on Friday in their win over Troy with 20 points and 8 rebounds. He once again puts up another big stat line yesterday, 15 points. And then Lamont Butler's been playing well, 14 points for him as well. So, like I mentioned, this is just one where Kentucky, they just always had a response. They shot the ball well, 38 from beyond the arc to Illinois' 28. They're a really good team. Let me see. So I want to pull this up against their two. Please have the season series against Tennessee on here. No, it doesn't. Of course not. All right, so I'll have to actually scroll through the schedule. This one I should have written down. So looking at here, they beat, like I mentioned, they've won both games. First time at Tennessee, 78-73 victory. Kobe Brea was the leader in that one. So it seems like, he's going to kind of have to keep this big game streak rolling. Or I'm sorry, Kobe Brea is injured, right? Why am I now blanking? No, I'm thinking Jackson Robinson's injured. Wrong guy. I have the wrong guy. Now I'm doubting myself. No, I literally just read his name. Yeah, it's Kobe Brea that's playing. Jackson Robinson's the one that's injured out for the year. So that's what I'm saying. Kentucky has so many good guards. I get confused. So yeah, he had a big game in that one. Milicic was Tennessee's leader, so I'm assuming. No, I mean Ziegler and Lanier played fine. Took a lot of shots, so like they were not efficient. So if they can do that again, that's probably the key in that one. And then let me look at kind of this box score from their other game where they played real quick. 75-64 win at home. That was one where Owe was the scoring leader. Only 13 was their leader. Dang, they must have had a lot of depth that game. Yeah, Brad 11, Ansley Alamaner with 13. So third, I guess just let's get to it. Third time these two teams are playing. Kentucky has the blueprint on how to beat them. Tennessee, though, like I said, has been rolling, but it's one of those where just Tennessee was a team I never was super high on and always wanted to pick against. I just was kind of skeptical of would Kentucky actually get out of that region just because I thought, Xavier's playing good ball at the right time. Illinois, similar to Kentucky, is like a very boomer bust team where if Illinois had a really good game and Kentucky had an off night, I could see Illinois taking that one. So I wasn't necessarily sure the Wildcats were going to get here, and that's why I kind of leaned maybe we go Tennessee to the Elite Eight. Maybe I never thought Tennessee would go to the Final Four. I liked Clemson. That did not end up going well. So honestly, give me the Cats. As I just said, Ole Miss was like the underdog I was most confident in. No, I'm going Cats. Give me the Cats again. Going Cats to the Elite Eight in Mark Pope's first year. And then the final game, Purdue-Houston. This is one of those where it's a little confusing because Purdue is playing in Indianapolis against Houston. It's going to be a Boilermaker home game. They, they've looked really good. They ended up beating High Point. It was a bit of a close game, but then they just another one where Purdue would just always have an answer. It seemed every time High Point went on a run on Thursday. It was one, I bet on High Point, was really hoping they'd win, but just couldn't get it done. Purdue wins 75-63. Then they now get to play McNeese 76-62. Once again, playing a low seed. They're advancing. Sweet 16 for Purdue. Now playing in Indianapolis against Houston. Houston, very good win on Saturday night. This is a really fun game. Like I said, another fun game. 81-76 win over Gonzaga, ending Gonzaga's streak. It would have been 10 this year. They stop it at 9 straight Sweet 16s. LJ Cryer getting buckets in this one for the Cougs with 30 points. Juwan Roberts also at 18. That was, like I said, it was a big, kind of injury. Would he be able to play? Him being able to play, big difference maker in this one. Gonzaga, they were down big, but were able to cut it. Let me see. What was Houston's lead? Like I said, sorry guys, I forget kind of all this stuff. Yeah, Houston led by as much as 14, but it came down to a final possession, and Houston did what they do best. They played great, just suffocating defense. No shot. Like, literally, no shot. Gonzaga didn't get a shot off. End up sealing the victory. And now they're into the Sweet 16 against Purdue. That's one where, like I said, just because it's a home game, it's a tough pick for me. But also, I'm just really high on this Houston team. I kind of thought, again, like I said, I ended up picking Clemson on the pod, and I let myself get talked out of Gonzaga. But honestly, I've seen. I'm not going to take. I guess I won't take credit for it because I've seen other people say it. Like, people thought the winner of this Houston Gonzaga game was going to the Final Four, and that's still me my pick. Still give me Houston. Even though they got to battle through the adversity, it's a little silly here that they got to play a road game in Indy. Like, they should not have put Purdue in this region in the Midwest. Should put Purdue in a different region. So give me Houston, Houston, Kentucky, and give me Houston. I'm going all one seeds. I know it's so boring, but that's honestly what I think is going to happen. So let's look here. Look at these odds to win the championship. Like I said, let me know what your guys pick. So I have literally the four highest teams here at Duke, Florida, Houston, and Auburn. All plus 500 or lower. Duke the favorite at plus 225. Florida the second favorite at plus 310. If I'm looking at like a value play here, one that I would maybe like, honestly, for me, it's Texas Tech. Granted, yeah, 20-1 Texas Tech would probably be my value play just because I like their matchup. I think they should win against Arkansas. And I mean, I don't know. We kind of saw it. I think the Florida close game will prove like they're battle tested and can go on a run here. But I don't know. Maybe it means Texas Tech can knock them off. So that would probably be my kind of sleeper pick. Any other ones I'd maybe like? Ole Miss, like I said, honestly, I wouldn't hate Ole Miss just because, like I said, I think they have a bit of a blueprint on like if they can shoot and take away the 3-point ball, like make Michigan State try to outshoot them, Ole Miss could knock them off. And I forget if they played this year. What happened? I think obviously if they played, no, they definitely played, and I believe Auburn won. But then playing a conference opponent in Auburn, like I said, kind of at times looks shaky. Maybe like Ole Miss make the Final Four plus 600. I don't think Ole Miss could win the national title, but maybe Ole Miss to make the Final Four could be sneaky. But for me, I'm being chalk. I picked all chalk. I talked myself out of some of these teams. Like it was the 4-1 seeds are like the 4 greatest Ken Pom teams of all time, and I talked myself out of them going far. So I'm being chalky. I'm going Duke. I'm going Florida national title game. I'm sticking with Duke over Florida. I was confident a week ago. So that is what I'm going with here. So let me know your guys' picks in the comments. We are kind of long, but I do want to touch on it because, like I said, we're almost at the end of the NBA season. So let me just do the usual, show the standings real quick, and then I have just how I did the college basketball champion odds. I'm going to throw the NBA champion odds here up on the screen. So yeah, let's show these standings here. All right, so in the East, not much change. Still the same top 6. Cleveland in first. Boston's cut it down to now 5 against Cleveland after their losing streak. They lost 3 straight after their streak ended at 16. I thought it was going to go 18, ended at 16. But now Boston 9-1 their last 10. They've now cut it down to 5. I still don't think, because I mean they've got 11 games left to play. I don't think they're catching them. But yeah, that's been closer than I thought it would be. Now the Knicks at 3, pretty soundly, 12.5 games back, struggling a bit, 4-6 in their last 10. And we got Indiana in 4th, a game up on Milwaukee, who's in 5th, who's on a game up on Detroit, who's in 6th. And coming on hot here, team I want to shout out, we got the Hawks. Hawks are now all the way up to 7th. Do I think they're going to catch the Pistons? No, I just don't think there's enough time left. They are 7-3 in their last 10, including 3 straight wins. So I got to think, we're going to see Atlanta taking on either Boston or Cleveland here in the first round because, I have a hard time seeing them lose. If they don't beat Orlando, who's the 8 in the first playing game, I think they beat Chicago in the second. Bulls actually playing really well right now, 7-3 in their last 10. Modest Buzelis had a really good game on Saturday night in their win over the Lakers. So yeah, the Bulls, like I said, they were a team that I thought they really should be tanking, thought they're going to fall out of it. And now all of a sudden they're pretty squarely in. I think we're going to see the Bulls in a playing game, and maybe even in 2. They might be hosting this 9-10 game here again, the United Center, not pulling up. But Yeah, there you go. And then they'd be playing Miami, who is horrible, 1-9 in their last 10. They're now down to 10th. But like I said, same. They're up 6 games on Toronto, who's in 11th. And then Brooklyn and Philly both suck, 2-8 in their last 10. So I think we're seeing the 10 teams in the East staying the way they are. Now the West is where it gets interesting. So OKC, they won the West. Right? They already clinched it. They're already 13 and a half games up. They're in second, 9-1 their last 10, 6 straight wins. Then we got the Rockets. Rockets all the way back up to second. At points we've seen them like 5th, 6th. Now they're back up in second because they're 9-1 in their last 10. And then they're a game up on Denver. Denver's 5-5. Granted, they've been without Nikola Jokic. But he should hopefully be coming back once the team gets back from their road trip. Then we got the Lakers now, who are in 4th, 4-6 in their last 10. They also just lost tonight. I have it on against the Magic. But they'd be facing off against the Grizzlies, who are also 5-5, who are a half game behind the Lakers. And then Golden State, 8-2 in their last 10. But they're currently in 6th, 2 game behind Memphis. Honestly, we'll see if they can keep it up. Like the Warriors, Lakers 4-5 first round series may be a thing. And I think that's what the NBA would love to see. I would not surprise me if we get it. However, Minnesota hot on their tails, 8-2 in their last 10 as well. Ant's been playing really well for them. So yeah, they're in 7th, half game behind the Warriors, half game up on the Clippers, who are also 8-2. Yeah, all those 6, 7, and 8, also all playing really good ball right now. Clippers did lose last night to OKC. That was a really good game. I was watching that one. Went down the stretch, but OKC, playing some good D, showed why they're the best team in the West. Then we got Sacramento's 500, 35-35 at the 9 seed. 4.5 games back. I'd say they're probably going to be in 9, 10. I'd have a hard time seeing them jump up to 8. And then Phoenix is currently in 10th, tied with Dallas, but I must have a tiebreaker, both 34-37. Phoenix 6-4 in their last 10, Dallas 2-8, really struggling. Anthony Davis is supposed to be back. I forget if it's tonight or tomorrow, so we'll see if he can maybe give a boost to the Mavs. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Portland's like, I guess, in it. Normally Portland and San Antonio are in it, 2.5 games back, but let's be honest, I don't think either of those teams are gonna hop in. So that's what we're looking at for NBA standings. Now looking at odds. We got OKC as the favorite, Boston at second at plus 210, 220. Cleveland third around plus 500, 550. Even, plus 650, depending here on the book. And then Denver, LA, both now we're getting, plus 15, plus 1,600 range. Golden State's plus 1,800. Knicks at plus 2,500. Bucks plus 6,000. And then Minnesota, LA, 6,000, 8,000, even 10,000 for the Clippers. So that's going to wrap that wraps up, top 10 in odds. So I gave my final 4 picks to NCAA. Let me give my final 4 picks for the NBA. Because like I said, we're getting close. 3 weeks from tonight, I'm going to be doing my playoff preview show, doing my bracket, giving my picks there. So, but with no bracket in hand, looking at my final 4 in the NBA. I'm going OKC. I think OKC is going to be there. They've proved it all year. They've been really dominant. But then who are they going to play? I would pick maybe the Lakers or the Nuggets, but there's a chance, those teams might have to play in the second round. Houston, they're hot at times. Golden State's been playing some good ball. Like I said, the West is very hard because it's very matchup dependent. But honestly, I might go off the board a little bit here. So it's very chalky in the NCAA. Give me Golden State. I like how Golden State's been playing the second half of the season. I think Jimmy, it's really been a revival for him. And like I said, I kind of like if they get this three matchup where maybe if they could get, they could play. I don't know. They could beat Denver. I guess that right now I'd be saying them beat Denver, and then to play Houston. Like I said, I would really like them against Houston in the first round for sure. If that ends up being a matchup, it's not even out of the realm possibility that the Warriors jump into this 4-5 game and also have to play OKC second round. But they also could be a 7 seed. I don't know. We saw it a couple years ago. Lakers went from play in, or maybe they weren't playing, but maybe they were the 6th. They might have been the 6th seed. But we're a low seed. We're the lower seed in their first 2 series. Or no, well, they would have been a little lower seed, but Golden State also won. So they played Golden State in the second round. So to see like a team like the Warriors go on one more run would not surprise me. Then out east, like I've been saying it all year, I'm going Boston for sure. They're probably who I'm picking to win the championship at this point. And yeah, I'm going to That was brutal. I should mute my mic. Yeah, that's why I wish I had someone doing this to me. I'm going Boston and Cleveland. Boston, Cleveland as my final four in the East Conference Finals there. I'm going Boston. I'm going Boston, OKC in the finals, and I'm going the Celtics to take it. So that's my 3 weeks from the start of the playoffs predictions. Might have to update my hat here. Get an update hat. Well, I'm a Lakers fan, so it wouldn't make sense. But I do like Jason Tatum. Get this year's version of this hat with the Thunder instead of the Lakers. NBA Finals 2025 will be pretty sweet. But that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode. I want to appreciate everyone who is commenting, dropping their picks. Like I said, a little difficult some of these nights when it's me just kind of solo here, but schedule's a little crazy right now, so that's my just kind of the way it have to be a couple of these weeks. But appreciate you guys commenting. Makes my life easier. Appreciate you guys watching. If you're live here on the Variety Sports YouTube or X channels, make sure to drop a like, subscribe /follow, so that way you're up to date on all the shows. We got a lot of good stuff here on the network other than just fast break. Baseball starting this week. They got a 7th inning stretch has got a show on Wednesday. That I'll definitely be tuned in. I hope you guys are as well. So yeah, it's gonna wrap it up. I will see you guys next week. Peace.